Hello everyone, it's Dev again. So in this video I thought I would share with you my next little project. It's not actually for my rig, but it is for my future as a nomad. And what I'm gonna do here tonight is to make fire starters. And I was looking at them actually at Amazon a couple days ago, and I saw these like wafers. They were probably, that thin, and there was a whole big package of them, and supposedly you could break them into squares. And I came to realize very quickly it was just wax and sawdust, and it was like $20 for 160 of these little tiny squares, and the reviews were not always that great. And I looked at a few different brands, but then it dawned on me that I can make these myself with stuff that I already have here that I was going to have to get rid of when I leave here. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm making fire starters. And this is pet bedding, Aspen, and you can see it's pretty small. And so this is wood, wood chips, wood shavings, whatever. And mine's not going to be exactly like the ones you can get in the store, but I think it'll still be usable. But I bought this pet bedding to experiment with my nomadic toilet, and it's, most people will either use peat moss or cocoa coir or pet bedding or something, or cat litter, and I've settled on cat litter. And so I have this left over, just an open package of pet bedding, and so I'm going to use that for the wood part. And then in here, in my little water bath thing, I've got water, I've got my trivet down there, and this is a melting pot for wax. This is actually beeswax that I bought many years ago when I first started doing my own personal care product stuff, and I didn't really realize what I was getting myself into. This was literally one great big huge block of beeswax that I had to chisel off pieces with my chisel and my hammer. This stuff is super hard, like a rock kind of hard. And I know the last time I tried to do this I was fighting with it, but it's so big that I can't fit it into that melting pot over there. And this is not fun, but I want to show you if I can. I don't have the best camera angles here, but normally if I just go onto the side, I can get chunks of it. There's really no cutting it. I know I'm not going to be able to cut this stuff with a knife. That was probably the biggest chunk right there. But mostly, I'm just getting little chunks like that. Let me try to go down the center and see what it does. But I have nothing else to do with this beeswax. Like I said, I was going to make candles, but that doesn't seem really like the best idea. That's not bad. I think I'm going to cut that one in half, because I'll need fire starters more than I'll need beeswax candles. I've got other candles for an emergency lantern. And obviously I can't use that in my lantern. I don't have a form to make these into the really tall candles. I don't know how much of this I'll need. I've got a lot of bedding. I guess I can just use all of it. because this is a reusable form. So once that's hardened and I pop those out, I can just keep adding more pet bedding until I run out of the beeswax. Oh yeah. Well, at least I can get it in there now. Before it wasn't even going in there. I know, I'm cheap, but why should I spend that money? Because it was like $20 for, I don't know, 160 little squares, and they were really, really compressed and everything, but all it is wax and wood dust, and I'm not doing anything else with this wax, and I'm not doing anything with that pet bedding. I was actually going to put it in free cycle, so whatever, I'm using it now. And so that's the only way I could get it down into this melting pot. But this is not even, it's not filtered at all. It's totally just raw, straight from the comb, beeswax. And when I was first using it, I would melt it down and I would see little bee parts, bee body carcasses in the wax. So I mean, this is truly not filtered in any kind of way. And that just wasn't working for me for my personal care products. So this hunk has been sitting in a plastic bag here. Sorry about the bad camera. But it was sitting in that with a little wire tie for like probably 10 years. I've just been holding on to this, and I would just have to get rid of this stuff anyways. So I'm just going to use it up. I've got my thing on maximum here. I have no idea how long this is going to take to melt. It's probably going to take quite a while because it's all the way to the top. And I can't put any more water in here because this is starting to float. It's not heavy enough to hold itself down. And so I'm just going to sit here and wait. There's really nothing I can do except wait for it to melt, and it'll start collapsing down into there. And then this is a silicone brownie mold, basically, or cooking thing. And I bought it again many years ago. I really didn't like it for brownies, so it's just been sitting out here in the garage collecting cobwebs and everything. And I think that'll be a good enough mold. And so I'll fill these little molds with the bedding, and then when that's melted, I'll pour the wax in over them. And just like with the beeswax in this stage, I can't cut it with a knife. There's just no way. I have to basically do it with the chisel and everything. So I think once it's done, they'll probably pop out of the molds okay, but then to get them, I'm not going to be able to get them into little thin slices like I saw those fire starters for sale. I'm not going to be able to do that. And so I'm just going to have to roughly break off pieces of it, and some pieces will be small and some will be bigger, but that's actually okay because I have two different wood burning stove type things. Plus, you know, if there's a fire ring and I want to start a fire, I would obviously need much bigger pieces, but I've got a little tiny miniature folding stove. It's just, you know, that wide by that wide and maybe 6 inches tall, and so it would only need just maybe one little tiny piece. And then I've got a bigger one that would need maybe one bigger piece. And then at a campfire, I probably use maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. And I'm not even sure how long these will burn. The ones on Amazon were saying that they would burn for 10 to 15 minutes when the reviews were like, nah, no. They did not burn that long. So I don't know what to expect. I'm just using up what I have so that I'm not wasting a bunch of stuff when I leave here. So I will get back to you later and show you what I got going on. Alright, so that took about an hour to melt completely. I couldn't stir it for the longest time, but I watched it and it just shrank and shrank and shrank, and eventually it got to the point where there was just the chunks down in liquid and I was able to start stirring it around. And then after that, it probably took at least 20 more minutes for all the chunks to dissolve. You can see it's really dark. Like, filtered beeswax does not look like this. It's just yellow in color. This is brown, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that or not, but as it was melting, I saw little bee body parts in there. So for this purpose, it's okay. I'm not gonna freak out about it. Oh, sorry about that. Fogging up. And I filled these, and they're about as tight as I can get it. And it's a little bit overfilled, but I think that might be okay because I don't know if I need something outside of the wax to kind of light the flame to kind of get it started or not. I don't know. But it didn't use hardly any of this bedding. Like, I still have a ton of it left. I don't know what to do with it. I guess just use it in my little toilet for now while I'm here, and then just use the cat litter on the road. I don't know. And I have a feeling that when I start pouring the beeswax into here, that it's gonna want to, the wood chips are gonna want to float. I don't know. We'll see. Because they're pretty light. So I'm guessing I'm gonna have a hard time with them. But you can't get any water in the beeswax. None whatsoever, because that will make it seize up. And so I'm just wiping the container to make sure there's no water left. Up. Well, so far so good. It's not trying to float. I don't know how many I can get with this wax. I might only be able to do like 2. But that's okay, because I think that would still last quite a long time. It's already starting to harden up where it's hit on the side there. Sorry, this is really hot, so I have to pay very close attention and not be distracted or anything. Yeah, I think I can only do 2 of these. I thought it would do all 3 of them. Well, thankfully the wood's not floating out like I thought it would. And some of it's still sticking up out of the thing. So maybe I should just do like the end down here. It doesn't seem to be like flowing too far away from where I pour it. I guess I can turn the burner off on my electric stove. Yeah, I can't tell if it's how far it's traveling down the channel. And actually, I'll put that back in there because it's got to be hot so that I can wipe out that wax. Beeswax is really hard to clean up after. Well, it made about 2.5. Had to stop right about here. Okay. I'm not sure how long this will take to cool down, but I've got to run to the store right now anyways. So I'm gonna let this cool off and harden, and then we'll see what kind of mess I have after that. I don't know, guys. This is just an experiment. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out or how long they'll even burn. They should burn a really long time. That's why I tried to get as much wood shavings in there as I could, because I want to have that wood present. Yeah, see, I can even put more. I don't want to waste any of that wax. So I guess I should probably get as much of the wood shavings in there as possible. I don't know, what do you guys think? Does that make sense? Yeah. I can see the wax still present, so I know that there's room for more shavings. And again, I think it would be beneficial to have some of the shavings sticking up out of the wax. That way it'd be like a wick. I do have hemp wick that I bought to do the candles, and so I could have actually threaded some hemp wick up out of these. I don't know if that's necessary, but I did think about doing that. I don't know if this is gonna work. Oh, now I'm getting too much on it. Okay, I think I better stop now. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stop now and see what happens. Oh yeah, it's already hardening up. There's really not a lot I can do about that. It takes a long time to liquefy and a very short time to harden, comparatively. And this stuff is so hard to clean out. And honestly, you can't use it for anything else. Once you use it for wax, that's all you're ever melting in here. These are sold for making candles, so you're supposed to melt just regular wax or any kind of wax, because you know you can get beeswax candles and paraffin and soy. And so that's the only thing you would ever use it for. And personally, I would only use it just for one type of wax, like beeswax only. I would use in this. I wouldn't try to melt anything else in here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it hardened all the way up here, so I'm gonna have to like totally scrape that out because it already hardened. I love beeswax, but it's hard to work with sometimes. Alright. So I'm gonna run to the store and then I will update you when I get back, and I'll show you what this looks like. And then at some point I want to chisel part off of it and light it on fire and see how long it burns. So hold on, see you in a bit. Okay, so let's see what kind of mess I made here. It's actually the next day. It was getting too late last night to finish this up and do my little burn test and everything, so I decided to just wait until today to do this. It was pretty much all the way cooled down in about 2 or 3 hours. They had completely cooled down. Looks like a little granola bar. I'm gonna try to cut it with my knife, but I'm not gonna be surprised if that's not possible. And this one, let's see how far down the wax went. A little bit, but that's okay. And on the other side of the garage, closest to the door, I have a brick setting over there, and I'm going to do a time lapse to see how long it takes for the thing to burn. however big of a chunk. And I've got my timer over there. And I've got my iPhone. And I'll set it on a time lapse. Hopefully we'll be able to see how long it'll burn. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Oh. Okay, well, maybe we'll just try one of these. Let me see how big this is. It's about 1 inch by 1 inch, I think. Yeah, 1 inch by ½ inch. But it's got quite a bit of wax in it. Oh, it's kind of crumbly. Okay, maybe I should. Okay. Well, we'll try this one. We'll try this one. Let's take it over here. Okay, hold on. Alright, so I am on the other side of the garage. Came over here because if it starts smoking too much, I want to be able to open the door. I've got my iPhone clamped to my boxes that are in the process of being made. They're almost done. And I've got my little chunk of fire starter over here. And my timer. So let's see how long this takes. Hold on. Okay, so that was just about 10 minutes exactly. It just went out. And I'm not sure how long that time lapse is going to be. The brick is pretty warm. It's still got heat off of it. But I mean, I was holding my hands that far away and it was almost getting too hot. So hopefully you could see that in the time lapse. The flame got up to here. So yeah, if I can't start a fire in 10 minutes, there's something wrong with me. So I think that was a success. I'm just kind of worried about the flakiness of the little pieces here. It's pretty flaky. They're just kind of falling apart. So I'm gonna have to try to maybe break them into bigger pieces, and then as I need them, I can break them into smaller pieces. This is gonna take forever because I'm gonna have to do it this way. And I guess I'll just store it in one of my metal containers. I have another one that's smaller than that I might use. I don't think it'll fill that all the way up. So that'll be my chore for the evening, is to break all this up. I think it works just fine though. And I didn't have to waste all that beeswax. So I'm happy. Alright, talk to you later guys. Bye.